Hey, this is Alex with Yellowstone Digital Media. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the new FinCEN requirements. It's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, part of the United States Treasury, I believe. And basically, they got some pretty strict new regulations requiring you to report beneficial ownership information. And if you don't do it, the penalties are up to $500 each day that you have not filed past the deadline, up to $10,000 and 2 years in jail. So pretty important that everybody does this if you are a business owner. And this is not legal advice. This is just a quick overview because there's not a lot of information out here for Montana businesses, it seems. But basically, if you have any sort of registered business with the state, you would need to file this. And it's actually really not that hard unless you've got some sort of complicated ownership structure, in which case you might want to talk to a lawyer. But basically what we need to do is go to fincen.gov/BOI. Will take us to the right place. And if you're just starting this, I would recommend creating a FinCEN ID. So if you will open this in a new tab, you don't have to do this, but basically you can create an account here, and what that'll do is you get to put all your information in it. Then when you actually file, you won't have to re-input all your information. You just put this ID that it gives you. And then if you come back to update your information, theoretically it should update for all of your businesses that you've filed for, instead of just having to go through and do them individually. So that'd be like if you moved, you're required to update your information within 30 days. So if you move and then you have, let's say, 3 LLCs or something, you would need to go through and do this for each one of them. Whereas if you just have this account, you can just do that the once and it should update for the rest of them, is my understanding. So that's what I did, and that's what I would recommend. But we'll go back here. So then you need to file, and it's really pretty simple. So I'll just go through an example here. We'll do file a report. And you can either do first we'll go to file, BOIR down here. You could either do a PDF version, or you can just do it online, which is what I would recommend. So I'll just kind of go through what this process looks like. Assuming you are just doing your first report and you haven't done this already, you just do initial report. Some stuff to read over. Here, I don't really know what this button does. I checked it, didn't do anything. I imagine this is if you did not create the FinCEN ID already, which I don't know. I would just recommend doing that first. This would have to be if you're some sort of foreign company. So I don't know anything about that. This will just be for domestic companies, really just, in Montana. But let's say, you put in your legal name here. So if you have an LLC in Montana, it's required to have LLC in the name. So it depends on what you've got. But the one that, let's say we're doing Yellowstone Digital Media. I actually already filed this, but we'll just do it again, hypothetically here. Put in Yellowstone Digital Media LLC. If you had a company and you were, a DBA, something else, you put that in here. Tax ID. So if you have an LLC with an EIN, you'd put the EIN here. If you have an LLC without an EIN, I imagine you just put in your social security number. There's probably more complicated applications here that I don't know about, but for me, that would be an EIN. If you have bank accounts for your business in the business's name, you would have to have an EIN. This is issued by the IRS. So you would have a document. I can pull mine up here. I'll probably blur out the number, but I can show you what it looks like roughly. So here's my document. Your employer identification number, or EIN, is up here. We will just bring it back, punch it in here. It doesn't like the dash in it, so you got to take the dash out. Country should be United States. State of formation, Montana. If you had a tribal jurisdiction, you put that information in here. Put your address in down here. Blur out my information, but just so you get the gist. This should be current address for your business. And so if you were formed before January 1st, 2024, you just check this box, and it's going to basically disable this whole page. So my understanding is that if you formed your company after this, after January 1st of this year, you will need to have the person who filed for the company organization to input all of their information here, or have their FinCEN ID here. So, if you just made a single member LLC and you did it yourself, then you could just put your information or your ID in here, not a big deal. If you had, let's say, a lawyer do it on your behalf or a family member or something like that, you would either need to enter in all of their information and then theoretically update it anytime that they moved or anything like that, or have them make the FinCEN ID, and you'd put in their FinCEN ID number here, which is, again, just seems like it'd be a lot easier. Then I think they're responsible for updating their information rather than, oh, this person who helped me form my company moved, and now I need to, figure out their new address and get their driver's license and all this stuff. So that's what I would recommend there. But my company was formed before this, so it doesn't really apply to me, and probably most businesses. So then beneficial owners. So assuming you're not a child, you'll leave this unchecked, the owner. And then here's where I would just put in your FinCEN ID, and then you don't have to fill out all this information. If you don't do the FinCEN ID, then you would have to do this. So my FinCEN ID thing looks something like this. I'm going to blur out the information, but the number is up here, right where it says FinCEN ID, and then there's like a 12-digit number. We're copy and paste that in this box here, and then all that other stuff goes away. You go to next. You fill in your information about your email and your first name and last name, certify that you're filing correct, verify you're human, and hit submit, which I won't do because I've already filed, but that is the gist of it. So that's my understanding. Everybody needs to submit this. If your company was formed before January 1st, 2024, by the end of 2024. If you're formed, today's January 18th, if you're formed between January 1st and January 18th, or later of 2024, you have 90 days to complete this. And again, my understanding is that you have 30 days to update your information if you don't fill it out, or if you moved or changed or something. So again, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. This is just a general understanding of what's going on to inform you and kind of give you a rough idea of what the process looks like to file this. So that's it, and thanks for watching.